Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Game on Cloud 9 here, and I'm here to bring you guys a new Bleach chapter 525 prediction. In this week's new chapter of Bleach 524, I felt like this chapter really did Zaraki Kenpachi some justice, because it really added some depth to his character in my opinion. But I'm going to go ahead, of course, I'm going to expand on that later on in this video, but I'm going to start off with a quick synopsis of this week's chapter, and then I'll go ahead, get to my thoughts and opinions on it, what I think of it overall, and then give my prediction. But anyway, this week's chapter, of course, starts off with us seeing Yachiru and Isane. They both receive something from, of course, Zaraki and Unohana, which was Zaraki's his eye patch, and Unohana gave some kind of letter. And since we've all probably, for the most part, read the chapter by now, we all probably get the vibe that pretty much they're saying their farewells in case they don't come back. Now, in that particular scene, when I'm seeing that happen, I'm thinking like, okay, what's really going to happen? I really don't see Unohana dying. Like when I see that particular scene, I'm just like, okay, of course, like she left a letter behind, but I just like Kenpachi, like I really can't see him finishing her off, especially looking at the rest of the chapter. I just don't think it's going to happen, but I'll get on to that, of course, at the end of this video. Now, after that particular scene, we see them fighting in the Mugen, which I actually thought we were going to maybe flip over to seeing Ichigo and Asauchi again, but I'm actually glad we didn't. I'm glad that Kubo was focusing on this fight right now, because I'd rather see this right now rather than Ichigo messing around with those random Zanpakuto like symbols, or I guess you could say those blank Zanpakutos. But anyway, yeah, they get on there. We see them sword clashing, which was an awesome fight scene. A little bit confusing at some parts, because we see one scene where like Unohana, like she does some kind of sword technique where it seemed like she slashed Kenpachi on his back, but it seemed like there was like some kind of sword sticking out of his shoulder blade. I don't know, there was a little, I couldn't really tell by the panel, so I'm a little bit puzzled by that. I may have to look at it like a few more times to really be able to recognize it, but there were a few confusing scenes. But I would probably say one of the more confusing scenes was towards the end of the fight. But of course, right before I get to that, I have to say Kenpachi, you can tell that, I think he actually cares about Unohana a little bit, because I've never seen, usually he's more, when he's fighting somebody, he's more about just getting to the fight, not really talking, but he's the one that's talking more in this fight with Unohana. I mean, he even says to Unohana after she's doing these different sword techniques and talking about how of course, she's using all these different tricks. She's like, I used to respect you. And she's all like, like, it's not time for that, or, it's not time to talk about respect, when you're fighting against your opponent to the death. And, of course, they're continuing through the fight. So it seems like I guess you could say his heart, in a sense, is invested in this fight, rather than, it's not a normal fight for him. Because normal fights, if you ever notice, Zaraki Kenpachi, he does not want to talk. He does not care. He's just like, I'm in the zone. I'm like, he straight up is instinctual. So, I want to know more about this past between Unohana and Zaraki, because, right now, we know that they fought before, and we know that Zaraki Kenpachi has respect for her, because she's pretty much the first one that made him feel fear for the first time. But there's got to be more to it than that, because there have been people that have been stronger than Zaraki Kenpachi that have beaten him before. Look at Juhai, and you never seen Zaraki Kenpachi have that type of respect for that type of person. Or, even with Ichigo, yes, he does, you can tell, okay, he likes fighting against Ichigo, but he doesn't, like, I doubt he would get all like that with Ichigo. I just can't see it. So I want to know more about it. I want to know what else went down when they fought. What else did she do? What did she say to him? But, of course, after that particular scene, she actually corners Kenpachi. She knocks away a sword, and she stabs him through the throat. Now, that panel seems like really confusing to a lot of people out there. I know a lot of people are debating back and forth, like, oh, she didn't do it. It's just her exerting her spiritual pressure. But then at the same time, there's people saying, oh, yes, she did. I think she did stab Zaraki Kenpachi, and she did technically kill him. Yes, she said he passed out, but I think that's because she literally stabbed him, because you see blood all over her face that even remains after that particular scene, after she withdraws her blade, and you see Kenpachi Zaraki's Zanpakuto back in his hand. So I think that particular scene right there definitely, did happen. I'm wondering if maybe that's just a different ability or different version of her Shikai. Maybe she's able to heal him right afterward instantly or something, or maybe she's able to revive somebody from the dead if it didn't happen like too long afterward, because it definitely did happen. I don't think it was just spiritual pressure. I don't think that Kubo just threw that in there for no reason, especially since right after that scene. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention one other thing. Zaraki Kenpachi crying was beast. I mean, seeing that tear come down his eye and saying that, I like, you mean to tell me I'm going to die here, without ever having to defeated you? Like, that right there, I was just like, okay, this chapter definitely, out of the big three, is the chapter of the week, because Zaraki Kenpachi crying, it like I said, it seems like his heart is like really invested in this fight. It's not a normal fight for him, so, and it shows that there's more to their past with him and Unohana's past than what we know so far. So I mean, I'm really looking forward to knowing, I want to know way back. I want to see Zaraki Kenpachi when he first came across Unohana and what really made him ultimately do that. Not only that, but what made him join the Gote 13. What made him, because I think even Elite Ace actually talked about that a little bit in his video about, that's probably one of the biggest questions, which I'd have to agree with that, is what made Zaraki Kenpachi join the Gote 13. Was it because of Unohana? Did Unohana pretty much, did she convince him to join, or was there something that maybe he saw in Unohana that made him want to seek it out for himself to maybe change or better himself, because she was in the Gote 13, he felt as though, I can now, like, it'll make me closer to being like her. Does he like does he like Unohana's personality in terms of how she is, and maybe there's something he's wanting to gain from that? I mean, I don't know if you guys get what I mean, but I'm just saying that there's more to Zaraki Kenpachi's character that I think Kubo is trying to get across, because he wants to fight so bad, but we all don't really know what that reason or purpose is. Why does he want to do that? And maybe in a sense, maybe he's seeking that out right now. But of course, after that particular scene, like I was saying, with the after the tear and after the whole stabbing scene with the particular technique, and she pulls out the blade, and I'm definitely thinking that's probably her Shikai or some type of ability, because Zaraki's like, what was that just now? I mean, he knew there was something weird about it. He said, oh well, no time to think, I just have to go in. And Unohana says something that was pretty interesting. She was saying, every time pretty much that he comes back, or Zaraki Kenpachi is beaten down and comes back from the brink of death, he always comes back stronger, so therefore he won't die, or something along those lines. And she said her only mistake is, I guess, some sin that she committed a while back, I'm assuming. So we're probably about to go back into flashback mode, I'm assuming. Maybe, next week or so. I'm thinking, probably next week we're probably going to start getting a flashback of this particular scene, because that's how it seemed like Kubo ended off, which I don't mind, because right now, seeing this fight and seeing the emotion, I'd rather see a little bit of flashbacks first before I say we get into the major aspects of this battle, because then once they start really going all out, I mean, Zaraki Kenpachi, he's pretty much already going all out, but once Unohana starts going all out, it'll add a lot more emotion to this battle, and I'm pretty sure as the readers, we'll all feel it a lot more. But yeah, as for I'd say, yeah, like Zaraki Kenpachi, as for him getting stabbed, I do think that's Unohana's Shikai, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe he's going to learn the name of his Zanpakuto in this battle. At this point, I'm kind of doubting it a little bit, because it doesn't really seem like that's the focus of this battle, so maybe not, and I guess the whole Yachiru theory that I've heard from people talking about, especially on Shinigami Souls, I guess that's definitely probably out the question now, since Yachiru is like nowhere in sight, so I doubt he's gonna just, call out her name and all of us, like, call out a Zanpakuto name and Yachiru is gonna be it. So that theory doesn't seem like it's going to be the case, but it definitely was a nice one in my opinion. I can't really think of any. I don't really have any other theories as far as Zaraki Kenpachi's Zanpakuto is concerned, but I mean, Unohana's probably has like at least two different versions to it, I'm assuming. Probably, Shikai has numerous different abilities like we've seen from other captains. And definitely next week is probably going to be flashback mode. We probably won't see Ichigo for a little bit and the Asahuchi. Probably maybe a few chapters down the line after this fight ends. I do not think Unohana is going to die, because if Kenpachi does have this much respect for her, I cannot see him finishing her off. I just can't see it. I can see him like maybe leaving her near death or something like that, but I can't see him killing her. You know, I just don't see it happen. I can't see the fight ending in that particular way. You know, so I mean, I don't know what you guys think. As far as a whole for this chapter, if I were to talk about it in terms of like the pacing or anything like that, I think the chapter was pretty nicely paced. It started off, of course, with us seeing, you know, the lieutenants and seeing, of course, you know, their thoughts, or maybe not their thoughts necessarily, but seeing their reactions behind this fight, which is important. We also got to see a little bit of fighting, and then we, you know, have a little bit of dialogue, of course, with a nice cliffhanger. So if I were to even give this chapter any type of rating, I would definitely have to say this was like a 9 out of 10, definitely. And next week, we should get plenty of information, or at least get a nice backstory, find out maybe what even turned Unohana bad, since she's talking about her sin, some kind of mistake that she committed in the past. So that's probably what I'm thinking we're going to cover next week, is probably maybe some mistakes that since she had some kind of mistakes in the past, maybe it ultimately ended up turning her into what she became, which is, of course, you know, the first Kenpachi, the one who was the murderous person in Soul Society. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to rate my video. So if you do like this video, then please don't forget to put a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, you can feel free to put a thumbs down if you want to. The choice is yours. Also, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more. And if you have any idea or theory on Zaraki Kenpachi's Zanpakuto that you maybe, you know, really think is actually really good and well thought out, you can feel free to probably PM that to me, and I'll definitely make sure I'll talk about that in the next video. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you later.